I'm going to save you the whole Trump badge spiel. We already know that he is. And the Trump administration is chaotic on so many levels. But I'm here to tell you what's happening under it right now. Right now in Minneapolis, Minnesota, there are 2,000 ICE agents and an additional 1,000 CBP agents, totaling 3,000 agents overall sent in by Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security. The numbers are wildly inappropriate considering it's the equivalent to 5 times the manpower of the Minneapolis Police Department. And from the amount of agents that we've seen, we've also seen unfathomable levels of disruption and chaos. This administration consistently degrades the Constitution, lies, and covers up any amount of wrongdoing, which obviously is not okay. There's tyrannical, borderline illegal, and just straight up illegal conduct. Greg Bavino, Commander-at-Large of Border Patrol, or former, should I say, after reports from The Atlantic claim he's been demoted, threatened the First Amendment in a new video here.
Calling law enforcement names like Gestapo or using the term kidnapping. That is a choice that is made. There are actions and consequences that come from those choices. And then when you choose, when someone chooses to listen to a politician, a so-called journalist, a community leader that spouted that type of vilification towards law enforcement or anything else, when you choose to listen to that, that is a choice, and there are consequences and actions there also. I think we saw that yesterday.
Which is super ominous and downright scary. Freedom of speech is meant to support criticism of the government specifically, but this is just flat-out intimidation. There was an ICE agent that also threatened that somebody would lose their voice if the person in turn raised theirs.
I will tell you this, brother.
What?
You know, I will tell you this. You raise your voice, I raise your voice.
If I raise my voice, you'll erase my...
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Are you serious? You
Yeah.
said if I raise my voice, you'll erase my voice?
Yes.
The detention of Leon Conejo Ramos, stopped by masked ICE individuals just in his driveway as he arrived home from school with his father, Adrian Arias. Liam was instructed to knock on the door, basically to act as bait so that his own mother would open, of course. But upon noticing this, his father took off on foot, leading ICE to hold Liam as leverage. Now, DHS claims that the father was an illegal alien, but both the mother and father have no previous criminal record and are legal asylum seekers, according to Minnesota attorney Mark Prokosh. Meanwhile, Judge Fred Bieri has issued a temporary order preventing any possible or anticipated removal or transfer of Liam and his father, Adrian. Caden Rumler lost his eye just for protesting with a megaphone. And a family of 6 had their van tear gassed, and the vehicle contained a 6-month-old baby that actually stopped breathing and needed to be sent straight to the hospital.
In one distressing scene, a baby hospitalized after a family's car was hit with tear gas, according to the Minneapolis Office of Community Safety. The agency saying the 6-month-old had difficulty breathing.
The ICE agents came forward and they were like lined up with their mace.
The Jackson family says they were driving home from their son's basketball game. The gas grenades setting off the airbags in the car, trapping them inside. Bystanders opening the doors. That's when the family says the baby wasn't breathing.
Officers threw flashbangs and tear gas in my car and made I got 6 kids in the car. But my 6-month-old can't even breathe. My 2-year-old then flipped out the damn car. This was flipped over. My car filled with tear gas. I'm trying to pull my kid out the car. I'm telling the officer I need ambulance. It took him 5 fucking minutes. He's going back and forth with me, telling me to go back in there and call and tell them to come up Lindale. They can't even come up Lindale.
Were you participating in the protest?
I wasn't at all. I didn't care to be, not to say it like that, but I wasn't. Like,
You were just here.
yes. Yes, I was trying to leave.
There have also been prominent deaths at the hand of these agents. Keith Porter was exiting his apartment complex when he was shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent, Brian Palacios, after he took part in the tradition of firing his gun in celebration of New Year's. Palacios said the shots were getting louder and louder, but it was actually him that took it upon himself to investigate the shots. He claimed he identified himself as an off-duty ICE agent, but Keith didn't listen. But I mean, who would? But neighbors also didn't hear the ICE agent identify himself either. Of course, the most pressing one was recent as well. Renee Good was shot and killed after ICE agent Jonathan Ross claimed that she tried to run him over with her vehicle. Despite his claim, every single video shows otherwise. It's been analyzed so many times, but her tires are quite literally driving away from this man. But even worse is that she was still alive for around an entire 8 minutes. And despite a physician being on the scene ready to render aid, she was ultimately denied help by those agents.
This morning I learned for the first time through an NPR story that Renee Good still had a pulse 8 minutes after she was shot by an ICE agent. And yet the offer to administer aid from a physician on the scene following his Hippocratic oath was denied.
She was also called a fucking bitch by Jonathan Ross. And then again, Alex Preddy was shot and killed by ICE agents after trying to protect a woman who was being seen shoved to the ground multiple times by these agents. Initially, Alex just so happened to be recording when they shoved the woman, but he then proceeded to approach her to offer help and was immediately pepper sprayed directly in the face by ICE agents. They then tackled him to the ground, they pummeled him, they disarmed him of his concealed carry, and then afterwards fired 10 entire shots into him while his hands were on the ground and his back was to them. Kristi Noem decided to straight up lie and claim that Alex Preddy attempted an attack on ICE agents. It's gotten to the point where they just feel so confident in lying to you, even when there's footage out there. But they also claim at the same time there needs to be some sort of investigation done so that they can get the full details. But they're ready to paint these people as vicious and attack hungry. Everything under the sun.
An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots. This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at this scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement.
At the end of the day, none of these incidents that I've talked about, and none of the ones that I've seen so far, are justifiable. I've seen so many comments that are just devoid of humanity, devoid of actual sympathy, no matter what. None of these things are a death sentence. The punishment legally for the crimes that they were purported to be doing, none of those are punishable by death. They're not given a fair trial in these situations. And some of them won't be given a fair trial at all, ever, because they're dead. And nothing can replace them. Nothing will mend those families' hearts. We have the First Amendment to protect our freedom of speech for a reason. Words are not hurting our government. Recording is not hurting our government. We have full well within our rights to film, record as much as possible, because imagine if we weren't recording. They're lying even when we do have the evidence. Could you imagine the world in which we didn't?